Hey guys, Bencb here, and today with a different kind of topic. As you've seen lately, I'm also addressing topics around online poker, the state of online poker, guarantees, rake, etc. pp. to really make sure that these topics are not getting lost and everyone is aware of what's going on. And this is now, in this video, this is a topic that I really wanted to talk about for quite some time, which is what can we do better? How can we guarantee that poker sustains for many years and even increases in terms of its guarantees, in terms of its image and popularity, and we can attract new players. I do believe poker is going to have many years and it's not dying, and poker is not rigged. However, it's slacking, and there are many reasons for it. And in this video, I want to share 3 points that I think needs to be improved on in order to bring poker on a new level, in order to attract new players, in order to strengthen the ecosystem, in order to really make sure that poker is going to remain profitable for the next years. This not only addresses players, but also organizations, poker organizations, anyone who is hosting tournaments, conducting tournaments. And let's start with the first one, which is transparency. So what do I mean with transparency? Basically, we need leaderboards. We need a ranking system of the best players in the world. We are in 2020, and it's still not possible to identify who are the biggest winners online and live. And I don't blame the players, but there's no incentive. I mean, why should I reveal my CASHGAME graph? It doesn't bring any benefits for me. And I can understand why players simply don't want to reveal their results, because first of all, for the losing players, it's a bit, doesn't feel nice. Of course, who wants to reveal, hey, I'm actually losing player? And believe me, there are a lot of wrecks who were winning but aren't winning anymore today, and they turned into losing players. And this doesn't feel nice. This basically crushes your entire ego. But also for the winning players, it reveals free data, free reads. You can see in which formats players are performing really well. You can see who was a PKO rec, who even tournament regulars might be recreationals or fish in PKO tournaments. So of course, even for winning players, there's no incentive to reveal your true winnings, because then you might even be someone that is not so known yet and you have a crusher graph. Why would you reveal that? It doesn't make any sense apart from bragging. And everyone would see, oh fuck, he's actually an insanely good player. And then they would just their game plan according to what actually his true results are. So there are a lot of downsides of revealing your true winnings. And there are no upsides apart from glory. All right. But if you're not after the glory, if you don't care, and then you just don't need to reveal your graphs. There's no point in it. However, I believe it's mandatory. I lately made a Twitch poll where I was asking people, hey, what would you like to see better, or what you would like to see more? A final table, EPT final table, stacked with recreationals, maybe 1, 2, or 3 regulars, and they're playing for like 6, almost 7 digits on top, like 700, 800K for first. Or a final table where you see playing the best against the best, and maybe you have only 100K on top. And I think there was 80 or even 90% of the people wanted to see and it was thousands of votes, wanted to see a table stacked with good players. I mean, look at every single sport. There's a reason why football is so popular, tennis, basketball, baseball, whatever. You can name every single sport. You see competing the best players in the world. And this is simply not possible. So we not only need a leaderboard, but we also need a format that brings the best players in the world on one table and playing against each other. You can make so many different formats. You can conduct an event where the best players online play against the best players live, and you can invite the top 50 players for an event. However, it needs a third party involved. Of course, there needs to be incentive. I wouldn't travel to wherever in case I get invited. Let's clarify that first. But let's say I would get invited, and I need an incentive, right? Of course, I wouldn't play a tournament where you play against the 49 best players in the world, and you even have rake, it's going to be hard to gain an edge. And of course, some players have to be losing players, and majority of the field are going to lose. So you won't be able to conduct such event because nobody would come. So you have to throw in extra rewards, an incentive, maybe some added prize pool, huge overlay, huge rake back. Basically, you need extra incentive. Not only the huge rake back, but let's say if it's a 10K tournament, 5K you have to buy in, and 5K comes from a third party. Because what you need to understand, and what companies need to understand, or the third party needs to understand, is that this would increase in viewership. This is what people want to see. Don't you want to see playing Charles Darwin against Phil Ivey? Wouldn't that be super interesting to see how these young guns from the internet would compete against these old offline or live crushers like Phil Hellmuth or Phil Ivey? Wouldn't it be interesting to see those who can really soul read you and those who are really good at GTO, who is actually better? I mean, this is super interesting. I think this is what viewers really want to see. However, it needs a third party. It needs someone to understand that there is a lot of attraction and reach to be gained, and you're not necessarily going to make a lot of money through those tournaments because you have to throw in extra rewards and extra incentive, but you're going to get so much more viewers on Twitch, on YouTube, and wherever else, maybe on television. So it needs a league system, of course, as well, where you have to buy in and you get some extra incentive. You can make it a 1 year league, or 2 seasons in 1 year, whatever. I mean, I don't want to talk about the details. It's about the grand scheme of things. It's about the idea. I don't have the perfect solution, but however, I do believe this is the direction where we need to go on. I know there was already an attempt with how was it called, GPI. I believe it was purely executed. So many things went wrong. It can be done so much better and will provide a viewer experience that will also guarantee a massive reach. And yeah, of course, it's not going to be easy. And how can you guarantee that people are going to sign up? Again, rewards. First of all, you need to opt in. It's your choice. If you don't want to reveal your winnings, if you don't want to reveal your profits, you don't need to. You can keep grinding your tournaments. If you don't want to compete in the league that only invites the best in the world, that's all right. Maybe you don't want to be on television, maybe you don't want to be on a stream, but then you're not going to get invited. You still can keep playing your tournaments as well, like WSOP, EPTs, whatever. But those who sign up, they have to reveal their true winnings, live and online. So that means there needs to be a system that has 100% transparency, that shows winnings based on the revenue, based on the cashes, minus the buy-ins. And then you can see, okay, who are actually, and then you can also make yearly leaderboards, right? And not only based on all-time cashes. I mean, this is just so not accurate, right? You have these 25K, 100K tournaments, 1 million buy-ins. And I feel really sad for those who were grinding $1,000 tournaments, $2,000 tournaments, $5,000 tournaments, and accumulated so many cashes over the last decades. And then there's one guy coming, playing 525Ks, a few 100Ks, make some 10 buy-in scores, right? Like cashes $1 million here, cashes $2 million there, has lots of buy-ins, and then suddenly he's in the top 10 all-time money list. This is not really accurate and doesn't reflect the actual skill level. However, you also probably have some very old players in there that might not be beating the games anymore. So this needs to be revamped, this needs to be overworked, and this something needs to be incorporated in order to make poker way more attractive to a broader audience. Because if you can't even see who is the best players or who are rough, even of course, if you consider the winnings, and even if you have such a system, I understand it's not gonna be 100% carved in stone, or he's the best player in the world because he has the most winnings. There's still some factors like variance that come into play in poker. That's true, but you will get a better idea. It's much better than the current system we have, and I find it insanely interesting to see these kind of formats and these kind of battles, let it be online or live. And if you make a really cool show out of it, I think this can gain so much more popularity for poker. And we need to have a third party that sees an incentive or sees an opportunity in such a system. I mean, just look at the Twitter poll. I think this is something you can't neglect anymore. The second point is the professionalism, which I honestly and this mostly comes with ruling, I really don't understand in poker at all. I mean, it might be small issues here and there, but they stack up, and over the period of the time, it kind of doesn't destroy, but it harms the game in a certain way. Especially, you always have to think, don't think from your perspective, and maybe as an experienced viewer or an experienced poker player. Most of the time, you have someone just coming to Twitch, just discovering YouTube. Maybe they're just 14, 15, have their first connection or their first touch with poker, and then they see super weird rulings, super confusing decisions, and then additionally also super confusing system where you can't identify who are the best players in the world. And this, of course, does not necessarily provide you with a proper entry into a sport where you might see yourself in the future, maybe not necessarily by playing, but also by watching it, because you find it cool, you find it interesting. So what I'm talking about is that, for example, the ruling, right? So angling. I mean, of course, in a lot of sports, you have rules that you can bend to a certain level, and there's a little bit of a gray area. But in poker, this gray area, this opportunity for players to even angle is way too big, and this can be resolved in an easy way. For example, let's say if you want to place your chips, let's take some chips here, right? And this kind of motions that people do in order to extract a read from their opponent, which is supposed to be angling, is not necessarily the fine way. However, why don't you draw a line on the table, and whenever this chips cross the line, this counts as a bet. These chips are in place, and then there is no room of interpretation, right? And the same for the cards. Whenever the cards cross the line, the fans are folded. We have seen from the recent, I think, EPT Barcelona, where the guy was taking his cards and like moving them forwards and backwards and trying to get a read out of them, and the dealer always wanted to grab the cards. And I mean, of course, I don't want to defend him, nor do I want to razz on him. But the thing is, this wouldn't be the case if we would have clear rulings and you just draw a fucking line on the table. And the same, it goes on with stalling on final tables, where you have an incredible poor viewer experience if you have players that constantly stall just for no-brainer actions, just because they enjoy being in the spotlight, like tank folding 10-15 seconds 9-3 off from another gun. And here again, I don't think it's necessarily the right way to punish this kind of behavior. It's better to reward playing fast. So as we've seen a much faster transition into tournaments with shot clocks, why not rewarding fast play? For example, on final tables, and this is an idea just for final tables, that let's say you have someone counting everyone's fast or speed of decisions. So let's say if you act within 5 seconds, 9 out of 10 times, you get another time bank card for like 20-30 seconds. So you can use those time bank cards then, and you can stack them for those really important decisions. Now, someone might say, yeah, Ben, but then he's exploiting those time bank cards for other decisions. No, if someone is trying to play fast in order to get time bank chims, he is very likely going to use them for very crucial decisions. And here's the thing, for crucial decisions, we don't mind sitting there and watching 5-6 minutes and debating what is he going to do, breaking down the hand and listening to the commentators, and the commentators going back and forth. What is he going to do? What's going to happen? Is he going to hero call, or is he going to find the hero fold? And that's exciting. That's the shit we want to see. We don't want to see someone waiting 20 seconds after he folded 7 deuce off from MP. That's not what we want to see. We want to see those key moments when someone's tournament life is put at risk and he has a bluff catcher. That's where we're going to start debating and breaking down his thought process, the hand, and going back and forth. That's what we're going to see. And if someone wants to spend his 10 time bank cards that he has collected over the last orbits, then so be it. But this kind of stalling, and this happens over and over again, and I've tuned in so many final table streams, and it's just annoying. And a lot of players are doing it, always taking their time. It's like you trash and fold, like so many no-brainer spots. And I think, again, here, put yourself in the in the shoes of a beginner who just discovered poker, I would not follow up poker. It's like, what the fuck? Like, takes so long until I see action? No way I'm gonna do this anymore, or it won't again at all. So totally understandable that it harms the viewership, especially for beginners, and especially also for those who have been around with poker. They just get bored of it, and it's like an avalanche, right? If he does it, then I'm also going to take my time. And then especially for situations where you might have to put in a bit more thought and really have to think it through, then you're going to even take longer. So it's a vicious cycle, and something we definitely need to keep an eye on. There's so many other small things that stack up and not only decrease the viewer experience, but also the experience for playing. How many more players could we get if we really guarantee that the playing experience would be so much better? And there's so many small gimmicks you can incorporate on the table with better ruling, clear ruling. I mean, also we've seen with Sam Sorrell, who folded out of action. I'm not here to judge whether it was intentional or not, but there has to occur a penalty. It cannot just go without a penalty. But yeah, this of course is happens over and over again, these angles, weird rulings, and I wish to see that this is going to be changed, and there's going to be more an incentive of playing fast, increasing the playing experience and viewer experience, especially on big final tables. And this brings me to my next point. Just think about how much money is involved. Sometimes they play for millions, and we only have a few thousand viewers on Twitch. So this is already an indicator, hey, something is going wrong. Like, something from the scratch, something is approached from the wrong way. I think poker is going to remain profitable for the next year, so don't worry. But hey, just because we have an opportunity to make money, just because we have an opportunity to make a living out of something we truly enjoy doing, it doesn't mean we can do better. And really start thinking about, okay, what is the approach we want to take the next few years? And I also believe that the route we are going with all these re-entries, this is just absurd. This is just madness. And I recently also made a post on Twitter where I said I'm going to decrease my amount of re-entries and rebuys, because this is not the way you want to go. This is so detrimental for recreation, its player experience. They bust Phil Ivey, and then they see him 5 minutes later on the table next to them, and then actually Phil Ivey's going to remain longer in the tournament. And of course, I'm not blaming the regs taking these re-entries. If you get this opportunity provided by the companies who are conducting those tournaments, then of course you're gonna take the re-entries as much as you can if you think you're profitable. But it's destroying the experience. It's destroying the stories that pokers live by. That Alan busted Phil Ivey, and Alan goes home to his buddy and said, yeah, I busted Phil Ivey, you know. But then Alan is going to be very, 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 very mad if he actually busts Phil Ivey, and then 10 minutes later he sees him re-entering the tournament. And this is just something that really needs to be thought of, and especially for you as a player, do you really want to support this madness? I'm even skipping some re-entries where I think I might be profitable. I don't want to support this anymore. I think a few re-entries is fine, but like unlimited re-entries, or then you have re-entries under like 10, 15 big blinds. I know I've been re-entering a lot because I'm very competitive and I want to win, and I want to, even if I think I might have a small edge, even if it's high variance, I'm going to go for it. But it's just not the way it's supposed to go. I don't want to support this anymore. And I think you should do the same and really, really think about, is it really necessary that you need to re-enter every single tournament? It's just madness. And then people start re-entering just for leaderboards and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the companies are aware of that, and they are taking advantage of it by, providing more and more unlimited re-entry tournaments. And if you're out, you're out. It's a tournament. Otherwise, it's not a tournament. So I wouldn't even mind. Everything is freeze out. So then your tournament life is at risk. I mean, if you can re-enter 2-3 times in the early game, like, if I bust, I can re-enter again. Not the way it's supposed to go. And I wish that rebuys and re-entries are going to be decreased in the near future. And but here also my let's say my appeal to you guys, that really make sure to not support this. Always think about what's good for poker in the long run. What do you want to support and what you shouldn't support? And then I think we're on a really good route to have a very bright future in poker. And my last point is more about guarantees, specifically so for online poker. It's very sad to see how the guarantees are decreasing, especially on Pokerstars. I don't understand why. You have to keep in mind the guarantees are very attractive for recreationals. They look at the first place, they look at the second place, like what is the big money that I can win here? If this keeps decreasing, we're gonna lose recreational players. This is what I believe. I mean, I also have a lot of friends and I also speak to a lot of beginners and recreationals. I get a lot of messages and I can see the input. And I think that one of the main reasons why players or beginners play certain tournaments is because they're dreaming of this quick money, just entering this $10 and winning $12,000 in one tournament. This is the stories they want to make, and these are the dreams that players have, or for $100 winning 100k. And then but if this keeps decreasing, you're gonna lose a lot of recreational players, you're gonna lose a lot of beginners. So I really hope this stops the decrease in the guarantees, and I hope that all poker sites are aware of that. And also for live, I think live is, I mean, I'm not a live pro, I'm not following the live scene as much as I do online, but yeah, it would be sad to see if the same happens for live poker. But I have to admit here that I really appreciate that Party Poker is increasing their guarantees. So I really would like to see that Pokerstars also starts increasing their guarantees again. I think the Sunday Storm went from 250k to down to 150k guarantee within a few months, which is not great. Or was it within a year? Whatever, like 50,000 or 100,000 guarantee within a year or a few months. That's quite a lot. Doesn't matter exactly what the period of time, but yeah, definitely not the way to go, I believe. And let me know, guys, what do you think should be done? Should we do better, or can be done better in order to make poker way more attractive and also to increase its image? Why does it still have this bad image? Is it because of the transparency, that everything is so unclear and you can't really determine who are the best? Is it because of, poker, gambling, dark rooms, gangsters, weapons, drugs? Or is there something we can do about it to bring poker in a better light in the public, and also to make sure that we attract new players, to have a stable economy, to have a bright future? What do you think, guys? What should we be doing, or what needs to be done? What are your ideas, especially for ruling? What are your experiences with live poker? Something that you might not enjoy that much, or what's something you really enjoy? What should be focused on? Drop it down in the comments. I'm going to read it. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, here, I don't know. I don't have the perfect answers. That's just my input. But yeah, I think I gained a lot of input and feedback now over the last years, and I think I at least have a good idea in what direction it should go. And I don't have the master plan at hand here, but I'm having a lot of conversations, and I'm having a lot of thoughts. What can we do better? And then let me know, guys, what you think. That's it for today. See you guys in the next video.